Hi everyone, I am super excited to share my video with you today as we're going to be focusing on the visa and work permit process for the People's Republic of China. And for the purpose of this assignment, we're going to be talking on China's capital city of Beijing. A little later on in the presentation, I'll be discussing some key things you might want to consider if you're thinking about taking your spouse or partner with you. Now let's get right into it. When I was doing research for this assignment, interestingly enough, I found out that the language they speak in Beijing is Mandarin, and hello in Mandarin is ni hao. Now, that is a good fun fact because when you're thinking of taking an international assignment, if you know a little bit about the language that is being spoken in the country of assignment, it can go a long way in helping you get through with your daily activities. Now, let's jump a little further into it. Do Canadian citizens need a visa to be able to work in China? Absolutely. Canadian citizens do need a visa, and right here in Toronto, we're actually in luck because there is a Chinese visa application center, and it's located right on University Avenue. Now, for the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to be covering 6 key topic areas. And my first topic area is the travel documents required for you as the employee going on this international assignment. The first thing you need to have is a passport. You need to have a passport that is at least 12 months in validity. And you also need to have at least 2 pages from that passport that's blank so that you'll be able to get your visa issued to you and any other documentation in which they require to attach. Secondly, you need to photocopy your biodata page in your passport as well too. Now, we all love to take pictures, so there's also an aspect of this application process in which you will be able to get to take pictures as well. Now, there's one thing on the visa application form that I did want to highlight, and that is an invitation letter from the employer. Very, very important to consider. This will definitely come from your multinational organization in which you're working with. But there is something that you need to know. In order to get this invitation letter approved, you need to do a medical check and a criminal background check to be able to get this valid. Now, this approval will come from the multinational location in China because they have their own rules and laws that governs basically the passing requirement for you to meet those standards. So that's something you might want to consider. Now, I took the liberty of actually printing out and going through the visa application process. And the form is actually about 4 pages in length, and it's written in English and Mandarin. If you have all the required documents and information that they're asking for, it could take you about 20 minutes to be able to complete. Now that takes me right into my topic number 2. How much is all of this cost? Good question. Now it can cost you up to 145 Canadian dollars for a regular application form, and the time constraints for that is 15 business days. Now, let's just say your international assignment was high priority and you needed to get this done quickly. They do offer different services in terms of rush applications and express service. Of course, that's going to cost you a little bit more, and it can cost you up to 200 Canadian dollars, but you could get it within 2 to 6 business days. Now that takes me right on to topic number 3. Do you need a work permit to be able to work in China? Yes, you do. Now, interestingly enough, the Z visa, it's not a work permit. And I was a bit taken aback because I was thinking, okay, now I have the Z visa. When I get there, I can just start working right away. And it turns out I can't. So when you get your Z visa, you have 90 days in which to travel to China. And when you get to China, you have up to 30 days before you report to the local authorities in China. And what they will do for you when you get there is issue you what is called a work and residence card. And your work and residence card is your work permit and proof showing that you are eligible to work and live in China. And they issue this to you. It's normally valid for a period of up to 1 year, and it allows you multiple entries in and out of China as well too. That takes me right into topic number 4. Can your spouse accompany you on this new venture? Absolutely, they can. And now, excitingly enough, they can accompany you, but they will not be on the same Z visa that you have. They will be on a visa that's called the S1 or the S2 visa. Now, how it works is the S1 visa allows them to stay with you for any stay that's greater than 180 days. And the S2 visa allows them to stay with you for any stay under 180 days. Can they work on this visa? Unfortunately, your spouse will not be able to work on this visa. And if they wanted to work while with you in China, they would need to now seek out an industry who's willing to sponsor them that Z visa forms and work permit invitation forms, and go through what is the similar process in which you went through before you left Canada. But it's something that is definitely possible as long as they find the right industry that will help them go through that process. Now that takes me right into topic number 5. Is there any implications if your partner is same-sex in common law? And when I did my research, I realized that there are a lot of same-sex partners already living and working in Beijing, and some of them are also on international assignments as well. So you should not have anything to worry about when it comes to this area. And also, what you do need to understand really is that as long as they go through the same process and they have their working Z visa and their permit, there's no law that bars you against going into the country if you are of the same sex. Now that takes me right into topic number 6, my final topic for today. It talks about limitations and is there any issues and things you might need to consider for your spouse. Number 1, it goes right back to language. Learning a little bit about that language can definitely go a long way. Saying ni hao can help you navigate through the streets, and it's also a sign of respect as well too. Again, it goes back to getting the medical check and the criminal background check. So if you do have this, it would work in your advantage. So the legal age to work in China is actually ages 18 to 60, but there are some exemptions from this depending on the industry in which you work in. And if your spouse or partner has a bachelor's degree and at least 2 years of experience in the field in which they would like to find a job, that's also something that can definitely work in their advantage. Now that concludes my presentation, and it brings me to the very end, and I'm so glad you stayed with me throughout this whole presentation, and I'm glad that I was able to share with you some useful tips and key information for your new international assignment. Bye!